I'm here looking down on Saint Come Du Mont, and behind me is Dead Man's Corner, and we're going to have a look at the DDay Experience. A lot of people have been asking me if I want to do a video on the DDay Experience. I didn't really want to do a video about this museum because I don't really like it. Another reason I didn't want to do a video is because there isn't much to film. Don't let that big facade fool you, it's an extremely small museum. But at your request, let's head out to Dead Man's Corner. The museum is located at Saint Come Du Mont, on a busy crossroad important to the American forces during D-Day operations in 1944. This would have been the only exit from Utah Beach and an important road to the town of Carentan, because Carentan was an important crossroad to link up the Utah and Omaha beachheads. But if you want to know more about the history of Carentan, have a look at my Band of Brothers video. I will leave a link in the description below. On June 7, the outskirts and Saint Come Du Mont were still under control by German Fallschirmjäger units. When Company D of the 506 paratroopers reached the crossroads south of Saint Come Du Mont, heavy fighting breaks out, which resulted in the death of 5 men. The decision was made to withdraw and wait for tanks. When the first tank arrived, an M5 Stuart, it sets off. It breaks to the heavy bocage and drives up and down behind cover to give the impression that more than one tank was present. When it eventually heads out to the crossroad, it gets hit by an 88mm. Some sources say a Panzerfaust. The tank burst into flames and the commander, First Lieutenant Walter T. Anderson, managed to climb out of the turret, but is heavily wounded and dies there. Some sources say this was another crew member. Either way, this poor fellow would have been hanging out of the tank for days afterwards. And because it was too dangerous to get the men out of the tank, the crossroads got referred to by soldiers as Crossroads of the Dead Man or Dead Man's Corner. Eventually Company D of the 506 take the high point on the D13 road. They would repel several counterattacks, and on the afternoon of 8th of June, an American patrol reports that the German forces have retreated from the area, and the 101st Airborne would liberate the town with almost no resistance. I've looked up the records for First Lieutenant Walter T. Anderson, and it seems that he died the next day, so it could have been that he survived. So, let's get on with it and have a look at the Dead Man's Corner Museum or the DDay Experience, whatever you want to call it. Like I said, I'm not a fan, and I find this museum to be highly overrated, and for me the biggest problem it has is the motion simulator. It's nothing to be impressed about because it's just a cheap theme park experience. So this place is advertised as 2 museums in 1, sometimes called the Dead Man's Corner Museum or the DDay Experience. The name was changed after its rebranding, but it's still advertised with the old name, and it can get a bit confusing searching online for the information, and the same goes for getting a ticket. The actual second museum is the old Dead Man's Corner building, which half of it has been turned into an overpriced souvenir store for tourists with too much money. The entry price is €13, making this museum one of the most expensive in the entire area and probably in the whole of France. But you can also get the €19 arrangement, which includes the entire DDay Experience, which means a 3D movie and the museum. But the pricing card is really confusing, making it look like only the movie is €19 when in fact it's the entire package. So after you buy your ticket, you enter the first room, which has several interesting items set up in a great modern display with great lighting. But the only downside is you have to wait in this room for 30 to 45 minutes until you can enter the so-called DDay Experience. Now you will enter the pre-show and this will take a few minutes. Sadly for me, a few other people we got eventually filtered out because we had the wrong time tickets. Now before everybody starts calling me a dumbass in the comments, it's too confusing, okay, and explanations are all in French, so give me a break. But they could probably prevent this whole ordeal by checking the tickets in the first place when entering the pre-show. So now I had to wait another 45 minutes with a pissed off family with crying kids and 30 other sweaty tourists.
This is body spray. It is a device that can be applied on the body which can temporarily mask out odor and is very commonly mistaken for a shower. This is not a shower. I repeat, this is not a shower. It is, however, used to freshen yourself up when taking care of your personal hygiene, a secret technique known only to the chosen few who attend on their arduous journey of internally gagging every fifth person they pass. Be especially careful of any tightly packed gaming room, as such spaces can be prone to their own independent climate with increased humidity comparable to tropical rainforests.
And before you go typing into the comments,
Spencer, you can also go outside.
yes, I know I can go outside. I can have a look at this rusty Sherman, this replica, or the 88mm, or watch grass grow. But is that really worth the 19 euros you paid? And this is why I hate predetermined paths in museums and being obligated to a show or movie room. You have to wait and you can't really do your own thing. And that's the biggest flaw of this museum. The layout is horrendous. You can get easily confused in a museum that's decisively small. Yes, it may look big from the outside, but it's really not. After the theme park motion simulator, you don't really get an experience. Not like Operation Neptune experience at the Airborne Museum, where you walk in the shoes of the 101st Airborne. Also, the lighting setup at the Airborne Museum is far superior. I don't know why museums always go for these overblown lights, and yes, I'm looking at you, Overlord Museum. The DDay Experience is just your modern museum experience, with displays and some information here and there, and a few dioramas. The only impressive diorama is the Hotel Desire, with several vehicles and figures. After that you will head out to the next building, that's the Dead Man's Corner building. Here you will find several Germans preparing for the battle to come. And if you're sneaky and want to see this last part, it's actually free. You can just walk in here without any ticket, because this entire building is actually a souvenir shop. So outside you will see a convincing replica of an M5 Stuart. Except if you get too close to it, you will notice it's fake. Just as disappointing as the rest of this place. I would like to give a tip to this museum. Use the space that crappy motion simulator uses, make a diorama of this Stuart and place it in front of a gigantic Dead Man's Corner building. That I will want to pay 90 euros for. Some other stuff outside is this M4 Sherman on loan from the Samur Tank Museum and a Flock 37. The Sherman still needs a paint job, but that's probably the responsibility of the Samur Tank Museum. But the Flock 37 is pretty nicely restored. Well, that's pretty much my visit. I find this museum to be extremely overrated. It looks impressive, but the overall experience will be forgotten in less than a day. I also don't like cheap motion simulator rides, especially if you have no other choice than riding it. And it's just way too overpriced. So why does it get so much praise and high rating? And why is it that this museum is almost never mentioned as one of the bigger museums in the Normandy area? So let's pretend I have nothing better to do and overanalyze this. So this place is pretty flashy and throws a lot of technology at you. It also has some nice Easy Company personal items, and with the popularity from Band of Brothers even till this day, it will get a lot of groups that are interested in that subject. But at the end of the day, it all feels a bit corporate and empty. It's like a nice flashy Marvel movie. Big explosions and enjoyable to watch. But the substance is lacking, and after a few days you totally forget what it was all about. Do any of you even remember any music from a Marvel movie? Probably not, but we can all remember the music from Saving Private Ryan or even Star Wars. So subconsciously your mind sees through all of this. And a few years ago, Deadman's Corner was actually sold to a company in Carentan, and some business suits pumped a lot of money into it. They obviously had no connection to any of the history, and they frankly don't care. They are only here to make money, and that's what your mind is picking up. It all feels a bit corporate, and just like that Marvel movie, you will forget about all of this in a few days. So to wrap this up, I would not recommend this place to anybody. Maybe if the price drops or this museum becomes much bigger and you have a choice to bypass the motion simulator and the price stays the same, then maybe. But for now I would stick to a real airborne museum if you want that 101st Airborne fix. So I hope you enjoyed that little rant. Since I didn't really plan to do a video and I really didn't have enough footage, I just decided to have fun with it. But I have a lot of walk around footage left of the 88mm and the 2 tanks outside the museum, and I decided to place them on Patreon and buy me a coffee. I will post several short videos that will never really work on YouTube, but I still want to share with the people that support me. So if you want to see more content, have a look on Patreon or buy me a coffee. If you liked the video, press that like button and leave in the comments below what your thoughts were on the DDay Experience. See you in the next one.